All right, Mark Rogers TV. We are the voice of college football. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel for the very best in college football coverage. 97 media contributors in 2017, including Savannah Lee Richardson from Bulldog Illustrated. Savannah, how you doing tonight?
Great, just relaxing. First night of spring break, and it's good not to have to worry about classes anymore.
No classes. No classes and no basketball team, right? Going to the NCAA or anything like that. They pretty much got wiped out.
Well, they actually won. They beat Missouri tonight, 62-60, I think it was, and then they beat Vandy last night. So they're playing Kentucky tomorrow in the quarterfinals of the SEC championship tournament. But so I believe it's probably going to be like an NIT tournament bid, if anything. But if Georgia wins the SEC championship, not that it's very likely, but everybody's all the talk around is like, oh Lord, this is a 2008 scenario again. But I don't think it's going to happen. Kentucky will end up probably beating Georgia. But yeah, I don't foresee anything. Now the girls, they actually went to the semifinals and got beat by South Carolina, who got beat by Mississippi State in the SEC championship. So those girls, I think they'll probably be in a higher seed for the women's NCAA title or tournament. So that's who I'm watching, because the girls are, to me, are more entertaining because they're a little more scrappy and talented. The guys have just got to get it together.
All right, so let's get to football. August and September are a long time away, but we've got spring football starting on March 20th there in Athens, and we've got a Bulldogs team that is going to be void of a ton of NFL talent moving on, but with the recruiting classes stacked up, bringing in a fresh load of talent. So as we get close to spring practice, what are you looking out for?
Well, I mean, probably the biggest thing is it going to be another quarterback battle? You have the number one quarterback coming in, dual threat quarterback coming in, Justin Fields, and then you also have Jake Fromm, who took a team to the national championship as a true freshman. So it's going to be interesting to see how Kirby Smart handles that, because he's already said that he likes competition. He's going to make it a competition regardless of who it is, if you went to the national championship or not. So it's going to be really interesting to see how he handles it, because Justin Fields has so many good traits, and so does Jake Fromm. I think we should use both of them in certain situations, because Justin's not afraid to tuck the ball and run, and he might actually have a stronger arm than Jake Fromm throwing it down the field. It was funny. I was watching a podcast with Coach Jim Donnan on it, and he was like, he may be considered a dual threat, but that kid is a thrower, and not a lot of people I guess, like, consider him a thrower, because I always see him tuck and run and make plays on the ground. Another area is the running backs, definitely, because you just lost Nick Chubb and Sony Michel. But in my opinion, I don't think that Georgia's running backs are going to fall off. Like, everybody's like, oh, it's going to be a down season. It's going to be rough to see if Georgia can keep up with their ground and pound game. I think it's going to happen. DeAndre Swift has already got a full season. I don't know how far away he was from 1,000 yards last year, but he got well over 500 yards, and he was the third string running back. So he's going to be ready to go. I think he's actually going to end up being one of those emerging leaders as a sophomore to really carry some of the younger guys into the program. Zamir White, he's hurt right now, but it's only a matter of time with all the rehab and stuff. He could end up being ready by game season, depending on how severe his injury was. And James Cook, he doesn't come in until the summer, but I think his bloodline alone, coming from being Dalvin Cook's little brother, he's got talent, and it's going to be crazy to see him come in summer and see what he can do right away. I've actually had a debate with Georgia fans this past week about how Elijah Holyfield is going to take over that number one spot and have 1,000 yards season and get like 20 to 25 carries a game. And I was just like, come on, guys, this is Georgia. Watch what we did last year. I know we don't have Nick Chubb and Sony Michel, but at the same time, we're going to not give a guy the ball 25 times in a game unless we absolutely have to. So that's what I'm kind of looking at right now for the offense. As for wide receivers and tight ends and stuff, I'll be able to tell you a little bit more after I see them. I'm really hoping that Terry Godwin and Riley Ridley step up this year and have the years that they should be. As for the defense, that's going to be a big question mark. The entire secondary besides DeAndre Baker and J.R. Reed are gone. So those two guys right there are definitely going to have to step up, help Richard LeCount, help some of these younger guys that are coming in, and really prolong them from being so young and just being like, all right, guys, you're young, but you're going to have to go in there. You're going to have to make plays, and you can't be making stupid freshman mistakes. Linebacker-wise, also having to, get rid of – you're losing Roquan, and then that's a huge, huge hole. So I'm excited to see who can step up there. I think probably one of the strongest areas in our defense will be our defensive line, because despite losing John Atkins and Trent Thompson, you also have like Julian Rochester, David Marshall, Tyler Clark. Those three guys right there are going to explode. We saw them just get better and better as the season went on. And then the last two games that they played were just phenomenal. So I'm really excited to see what they do this spring.
So, of course, Savannah, people are excited about seeing the football team and how it develops with all these young players. But there's also the excitement of just kind of the festivities and everything surrounding spring football, and then culminating with the spring game, April 21st, and what it's become there at Georgia with the whole let's fill up the stadium, let's come strong, let's support the team, and get ready for another championship season.
Yeah, Kirby Smart, after National Signing Day, challenged the Bulldog Nation to all come out to G-Day this year for another 93K Day. I think the Bulldog Nation has already accepted his invitation. There's so much movement and so much talk about it already. People counting down about a spring game, and that's exciting because, like, it's a spring game. They're practicing essentially, but
tackles.
Exactly. I mean, and if they do tackle, it's not going to be as hard as they can. So it's really interesting talking on Bulldog Illustrated's board about if they're going, who's coming, tailgating, how early they're supposed to get there. People are treating it like it's an actual ball game. I've even had people contact me about how much are tickets, and I'm like, it's free. So if you don't get to go to a regular Georgia game, go to the spring game. You'll get the same atmosphere. But it's going to be interesting because the west end zone of Georgia's stadium is currently being renovated, and it looks like a war zone right now. There's trucks and mud and all kinds of stuff, and it's just like kind of interesting to see with there's a little over a month to go, how much of this will actually get done. Georgia's getting a 33% bigger jumbo screen, and that's exciting because I've always felt like the jumbo screen in Sanford Stadium was small relatively, especially I went to Clemson last year and seeing how big theirs is, I was just like, Georgia's got to do something. And so they are. And it's also going to be cool because it's got a recruiting lounge, new concession stands, new restrooms. It's just upgrading the part of the stadium that just was really probably outdated too. So it's going to be interesting because I did a story for one of my classes a couple weeks over last week to see how much of it will be done for G-Day, because Kirby is asking all these people to come, and I really couldn't get any comments from the athletic department. So it'll be interesting to see how much of it actually gets done. I hope it gets done because I'm trying to take senior pictures, and I want to have, like the stadium in the background as in one of my senior pictures, and it's going to be kind of hard with a big crane because there's a ginormous crane in Sanford Stadium right now. So it'll be interesting. I know I've said it'll be interesting so many times, but I love stuff like this.
So this is what happens when you've got a big major football program that is constantly improving and expanding and doing these things. So you got to put up with those type of inconveniences.
It's an inconvenience that I wouldn't mind. I'm surprised that that's all that they're doing right now. I think if Georgia continues to success, we could potentially add seats on to Sanford Stadium. But before they do that, especially like in my opinion, Sanford Stadium is going to have to learn how to get loud, stay loud, and keep an atmosphere that opposing teams are afraid of, essentially, because I feel like it only gets loud for big nighttime games, and other teams you don't hear that Sanford Stadium is a scary place to play like Death Valley is, or Auburn or anything like that. So I'd much rather have a stadium or an atmosphere where opponents are like, that's a tough place to play, than adding seats and people just sitting down not really making noise.